Ladies and gentlemen, wow. This is probably the greatest honor that I've ever had in my life. There's not much I can say except it makes you feel good, and we want to thank you from the bottom of our heart. And now, don't be cruel. You know I can be found sitting home all alone. If you can't come around, at least please telephone. Don't be cruel, your heart is true. Baby, if I made you mad for something I might have said, please don't forget the past. The future looks bright ahead. Don't be cruel, your heart is true. I don't want no other love, oh baby, it's still you are.
Parliament asked the King to speak for Canada.
His Majesty has just proclaimed that a state of war with the German Reich exists as of tonight, September 10th, 1939.
There was little of the patriotic fervor of August 1914. No longer were there illusions about the glories of battle.
It appears that there is more and more fire and smoke enveloping the very top of the building, and as fire crews are descending on this area, it does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
We just saw another plane coming in from the side.
You did. That was out of
yes, and that's the second explosion. You could see the plane come in just from the right-hand side of the screen. So this looks like it is some sort of a concerted effort to attack the World Trade Center that is underway in downtown New York.
I remember as a young girl always being fascinated by space. I used to lay outside at night in Chicago and I'd look up at the stars in the wintertime, and I always imagined myself there. It was really about the journey. It was about being able to explore, to possibly travel to new worlds, to see our world from a different perspective. As an astronaut, you have to have a lot of self-motivation. That's something that has to come from inside of you. The most interesting thing about being in space for me was being at a star system 10,000 light years away. I was as much a part of the universe as any speck of stardust, the sun. We're all part of the universe. And so the biggest effect it had on me is a confirmation that we belong here.
It was 40 years ago this week when New York State Police raided the Attica prison in upstate New York, ending a prison uprising to protest inhumane conditions at the facility. For 4 days, the unarmed prisoners held 39 prison guards hostage. On September 13th, New York Governor Nelson Rockefeller ordered armed state troopers to subdue the rebellion. Troopers then shot indiscriminately over 2,000 rounds of ammunition. 39 men would die, 29 prisoners, and 10 prison guards. After the shooting stopped, police beat and tortured scores more of the prisoners.
Newly uncovered audio recordings reveal President Richard Nixon enthusiastically supported the violent operation when he spoke by telephone to New York Governor Rockefeller on the day of the raid. Rockefeller confides in the president that before the raid he thought it was possible as many as 300 prisoners could be killed, but went ahead with the operation anyway.
Soviet Russia scores a dramatic victory in the exploration of space with the launching of the first rocket to hit the moon. An historic scientific feat simulated in these scenes, which showed the course of the multi-stage rocket carrying the 858-pound Lunik. Bearing the Soviet coat of arms and hammer and sickle pennants, it traveled 35 hours through space. It is the first man-made object to voyage from one cosmic body to another. Western observers monitored Lunik's 2 radios to the very moment of impact, which occurred almost dead on target, the geographical center of the face of the moon. Impressive marksmanship at 250,000 miles range. In one spectacular, well-timed move, Russia scores a major scientific advance, dramatically demonstrates the accuracy and reliability of its missiles, and gives Khrushchev a propaganda bonus on the eve of his visit to America. Moscow shot for the moon and scored a bullseye.
Darwin was fascinated by local flora and fauna. He described the Galapagos as a world within itself, full of creatures that were both curious and remarkable. The islands were teeming with wildlife. There were so many land iguanas, for instance, that Darwin found it difficult to pitch his tent without covering their burrows. Today, there are none left on Santiago. In total, Darwin spent 5 weeks on the Galapagos, experimenting, observing, and collecting specimens. As for tortoise meat, he noted that it tasted particularly good when roasted in its shell.